Welcome back to the College Town Podcast. We're your hosts, Sam Roth. Along with me is Derek DeBoer.
Yes.
We, during this podcast, went over everything that happened in the playoffs. Two fantastic games between Alabama and Michigan and Texas and Washington. Also covered the absurdities of other bowl games in the Pop-Tart Bowl, as well as the biggest
bowl game.
The biggest blowout in a bowl game history between Georgia and Florida State.
Yep.
Also talked about going into the FCS championship games, as well as giving our final pick'ems for the year, talking about who we think are going to win the championships in the FCS as well as the FBS.
Doesn't matter, though, because I've already won the pick'em championship.
Oh, he won't shut up about that. We also kind of went into basketball a little bit, talked about who we thought are going to win some mid-major and major conferences, as well as some weekly updates of since basketball season's starting to kick into gear.
Yep, conference plays, it's here.
All right.
It's not around the corner, it's here.
So stay tuned, watch the episode. We'll see you in this episode.
Well, everybody, it's the big one. That's right. Montana versus South Dakota State for the national championship.
Right.
It's the big one. It's in Frisco, Texas.
Brother.
Yeah. There's also another game in Texas. I think Michigan and Washington play each other.
Okay.
Yeah. This is an all Big Ten national championship.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. If you think about it, the playoff was entirely teams that are going to be in the Big Ten or SEC next year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But also, little caveat, this will be the first time since 2018 when Clemson won that an SEC team will not win the national championship.
Since 2018, who played then? Clemson and who?
Well, I don't know. I know Clemson won.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw the graphic last night that Alabama beat Ohio State in the 2020 national championship. I'd completely forgotten about that.
Yeah.
I was like, Ohio State made it?
Yeah.
I was like, no way. Anyway, some great games last night. We're recording this once again on a Tuesday, so
we can recap.
Yeah, we can actually recap.
Instant classics, both of them.
They were good games.
They were very good games.
Yeah.
I think it's the first time in the playoff for the Alabama-Michigan game that a game went into overtime.
No, second time.
Second time?
I believe they said it was second time.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, no, they were very good games. They were very close. They did mention in the Texas-Washington game that the first several years, the team that won in the first round had an average margin of victory of like 21 points. So I really do think, like I've been saying it for a long time on this show, that like everyone's saying, oh, you can't expand not everyone. I'm not going to be hyperbolic here, but a lot of people are saying you can't expand to 12 teams because it's not competitive enough. Like it's not, like only a handful of teams can win. It's not 12. So why would you expand to 12? Well, the argument is it's only that non-competitive because there's only 4 teams that make the playoff. I think. Now that when there's going to be 12, it's going to become more competitive.
I'm excited for it.
I'm very excited for it.
The fact that you'll have a home game being played for a playoff, that means something. You get to see a bowl game in person, like you don't have to travel. That's insane.
Oh, yeah. It gets me super excited for next year.
Yeah.
But also these games were a ton of fun.
Uh-huh.
There were boobies.
There sure was.
There sure were.
No, like the Michigan-Alabama game, it was a hell of a game. Everything from the kicking woes of Michigan to them being able to claw back into that game and find a way to win. I mean, it was just a great game overall. And
overtime was very exciting.
Yeah, it was.
Just with like how fast Michigan scored, and then how fast it looked like Alabama was going to score. It looked like it was like, okay, we're just gonna keep going.
And then it wasn't.
Yeah. It just turned on a dime, and that was fun.
Yeah.
Fun. And then Washington tried to lose at the end.
In the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah. I I can't believe they didn't take a knee at the end. I just can't believe it because honestly, all those times I can't believe they didn't take a knee. Like, so their last possession on offense, they just ran it 3 straight times, and Texas had 2 timeouts.
Okay.
So it does make a little bit of sense, but like there was like a minute something left. You know, you didn't have to waste a lot of clock trying to get a first down. Because on the third play, they weren't going to be able to stop the clock. You were already going to be able to kill 40 seconds. So I think what you should have done is just snap the ball, knee it, but just go back a little bit, go back. And then that didn't happen. And then when they ran it on third down, when Texas didn't have any timeouts, the running back got hurt. And so they had to stop the clock. That stopped it at 50 seconds when they were punting. And then also, when they punted it to Texas, they ran into the punter, giving them an extra 10 or 15 yards.
Jeez.
So they tried to lose that game.
Man.
Yeah, it came down to the wire when that one did not necessarily need to.
Yeah. Let's recap some other bowl games real quick.
Yeah.
Pop-Tart Bowl, great success.
Yeah, but that was...
Pop-Tart won that Pop-Tart Bowl. I know Kansas State technically won the Pop-Tart Bowl, but great success for Pop-Tart on that. Everything between their mascot and their edible mascot as well.
Yeah, the New Year's Six bowls were pretty good.
No. What? I mean, the only one that was decent was, it wasn't even New Year's
Ole Miss,
Six.
Penn State.
That, but even the one that was on New Year's that wasn't even a New Year's Six bowl was LSU, Wisconsin. That was that was a good one.
That was a fun game.
But I mean, Liberty, Oregon. I mean, you expected that.
Yeah.
Georgia, Florida State. You didn't expect that, but you expected something.
I expected that.
You don't expect 60 points, but the spread was 21.
The spread was 20.
It was 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
We gotta talk about how awful that game was.
Yeah.
I mean, Florida State had 20-something guys out. I don't know the exact number.
Oh, they had their top 2 quarterbacks out. Their top 3 running backs and their top 3 receivers.
Why are we playing this game?
I'm surprised that they put 3 points on
If you're Mike Norvell, what are you doing? You're down 42-3 at half. What do you say to your guys? What do you say? Just be honestly, and then Kirby Smart had
you give him the "We Are Marshall" speech.
Oh, is that what?
Yeah.
Well, apparently he didn't because
it's not about winning. It's not about losing. It's not about I don't know. I think have you seen that movie?
I have.
I think the speech ends up being about. It's about that we can play the game.
No, but I mean, Georgia had most of their roster for the most part, and they went out there and showed why they've won 2 consecutive national championships. And
yeah.
I mean, we got to talk about, in my personal opinion, Kirby Smart basically said a comment unprompted about FSU situation and basically said, do I have it? I do. He said, people need to see what happened tonight and they need to fix it. It's really unfortunate for the guys on the sideline who had to play in that game when they didn't have their full arsenal. And it was so funny because he's right. I mean, I think, personal opinion, they need to change when the portal happens.
Yeah, Lane Kiffin has said something about that too.
The portal needs to be beginning of January, mid-January. Once bowl season's got to end before transfers can happen. Because, I mean, you look at guys like Malik Murphy who want to be there for Texas, but he's got to move on and go to Duke because it's better for him. I want to talk
about that in a second.
But I mean, but there's examples of where guys want to stay, but they know they got to go because spots are being filled and they got to do what's best for them. But at the same time, they want to be a team player and they want to play for their team.
Yeah.
The portal, I think part of the issue is the portal. I understand completely if you're a first-round pick and you're projected high money and you sit out of a meaningless BCS bowl game and you're not in the playoff.
Yes.
I completely understand that. I understand. Go get your money. I understand the guy that's playing in the bowl game that's declared for the draft because he's a middling third round, fourth round pick, and he's trying to improve his stock.
Yeah.
I understand both sides of that. But I mean, like, when you get these top echelon teams playing each other, these bowl games are essentially won and lost before the kickoff even happens.
A lot of times, yeah. Like Notre Dame, Oregon State, that game, there was no chance Oregon State had to win.
No.
It was the biggest margin of victory Notre Dame has ever had in a bowl game. And it's because Oregon State didn't have a team.
Right.
Like,
they didn't have a coach. He left for Michigan State. They didn't have their quarterbacks who left for Michigan State. Their starting quarterback just transferred to Florida State. Yeah, DJ went to Florida State.
Yeah. And their backup quarterback transferred to Michigan State.
Michigan State, who was a top recruit.
Yeah, so they were down to their third string quarterback.
Right.
Who played last year. That was their problem last year, is that they had bad quarterback play.
Imagine being such a good team, and then you have to bring out your scout team for what's supposed to be the most important game of the year.
Yeah.
Honestly, here's a thought. Why not just make it to where, if you're not in the playoff, don't play a bowl? It won't happen because there's so much money to be had here.
Yeah, but also here's my argument against that, and I think probably many people's argument as well. It's that I think the playoff needs to expand. There was an argument made earlier this year of like, it doesn't make sense for college football to have a 4-team playoff, because if you think about it, college basketball was literally 3 times the size of college football as far as number of teams that there are competing, and that would be like college basketball having a 12-team March Madness.
Right.
Like, it's just, that's insane.
I think there is like a fine line though with like football though. It's not like basketball where you can play 3-4 games in a week.
Yeah.
You guys got to recover.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a reason why you only play 1 football game a week. Is because it's a brutal sport.
Yeah. But I think, to my point of that is, I think the playoff needs to expand like it is doing. But
do you shorten the season because of it?
If it expands further, I think so, honestly.
Like if you go to 24?
If you go to 24, yeah,
or do
you probably need to shorten it to 11.
Do you go to 12 or do you go to like 16? The first 4 don't get buys. You make it 16, and then what's next? 32, and then before you know it, you're at.
Okay, well, let's pump the brakes.
I mean, 32 is insane, but 16 I feel like is the
16
right
is rational, but anyway,
sorry, just free thinking, just
yeah. You really went off the rails with that one.
Whatever. No, I didn't. I just multiplied.
What I'm saying is, I could see where the train of thought was heading. What I'm saying is, the playoff is great. I'm glad that it's expanding, but with bowl games, it allows these teams like Memphis, who they didn't really have a shot at the playoff this year. They get to end their season on a high note. That's why I like the bowl games, personally. But I understand what you're saying.
Who cares about these happy fairy tale endings? There's 68 teams that go into March Madness. Only one of them gets to end their season on a high note.
Yeah, and that's the perfect playoff format.
Right.
But guess what?
There's one champion.
A different sport, different traditions.
No,
okay?
I mean,
you wouldn't get the Pop-Tart Bowl.
Don't get me wrong.
You're not gonna get the Pop-Tart Bowl in March Madness.
No, you're not. But I will say though, it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, I understand the bowl games. It's fun and exciting to have a team play another team where they rarely play each other, if ever have played. Mm-hmm. That's the fun and exciting aspect of it. Yes. But at the same time, I don't want to watch a game where it's not even a preseason game, because the team that's on the field isn't going to be the team that's on the field next year, because they're going to bring in a whole bunch of transfers and different guys in as well. And it's not the team I just watched 12 games prior to this, because half of that team has already left or declared or whatever. So basically, I'm watching a group of guys that I know nothing about. They might as well be a scout team for all I care about. And it's just like, and this is supposed to be the game of the season for these guys. And it's not even the team. It's not the team that will be this year. It's not the team that will be next year. It's just put together scrap parts of what's remaining of the team from this year.
I think you're not wrong, but I think it's honestly not that complicated of a solution. I said complicated, really weird, but I think it quite literally is just put the transfer portal until, like,
mid-January.
Do it as soon as the playoffs end or the national championship starts.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Or
it starts kickoff. Some guy just takes off his pads. He's like, I'm going into the portal.
Or you could do that, but also you could have like NIL deals. You could have like in the fine print attached, like you only get this much of the NIL deal that you have been contractually obligated. I can't think of the right word, but you know what I mean.
They don't play the bowl?
Yeah, if you don't play the bowl, then you don't get this.
Yeah, but then there's going to be the other school that doesn't have that, and then that's where the kid goes.
That's great. They can lose a bowl game.
I mean, fair enough.
Yeah.
But it's also like, these games don't mean much. I mean, like, I remember when a BCS bowl used to mean something. Now it doesn't mean much.
It still means something. It's just that
it doesn't mean anything. Florida State had 20-plus guys opt out of a bowl game. An automatic qualifier from our conference, the ACC, they had 25 guys say, or 20-something guys go, yeah, no, we're not participating. Why is that? Because it doesn't mean anything. Now, if they were playing Michigan last night, 1,000% all 25 guys would have been in.
Well, not Jordan Travis, but
because he's injured.
I know. Just saying, he wouldn't have played.
I do think, though, with all the BCS bowls finally being in the playoff, those are going to start to matter again. But every other bowl game,
yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah, I just this goes to a bigger problem with football. Is it's becoming more and more of like just a regular season sport. Like with basketball, teams like, just to talk about the coaches. Coaches don't typically get fired until the
end of the season.
Yeah, until their season is up. You see a lot of coaches get fired as soon as their team gets eliminated from conference championship or conference tournaments, and then also you see some people get fired when their team gets eliminated from March Madness.
Oh, we're talking basketball right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Gotcha.
And so because of that, because that's when they get fired, coaches aren't like jumping ship from their job to take these other jobs until their team is also out of the tournament.
Right.
In college football, college football that doesn't happen.
No.
And so,
because realistically, at max, it's like 10 teams that have a shot preseason, and everyone knows that going in.
Yeah, I think it's less in college football, but
I mean, I'm just saying 10 because it's going to go to 12, and I'm like,
yeah. But I just think that I do agree that they need to change some things around about the calendar of college football.
Oh yeah.
But it's kind of hypocritical when you let the coaches do it. And I know that the solution is not just let's just leave it as is. Just because the coaches can do it. But yeah, I think a lot of this could be contractual. You could do it with the coaches as well. Like if you leave before a bowl game that we qualify for, like for another job, your buyout is like double or whatever.
But
you could do that.
I just like if you're playing in the Tax Slater Bowl or whatever it is, like
that was the Gator Bowl.
Fair enough.
That was Clemson, Kentucky this year.
What's the point?
Well,
you're playing in the Holiday Bowl.
In that exact incident, the one you just mentioned, the Gator Bowl, Clemson was trying to prove that, no, guys, we're still pretty good. Like, we just had a bad start to the year. And then Kentucky, they were going minus the win against Louisville. Their season was quickly going down the drain. And they're trying to be like, no, guys, we're still SEC. We're good. And then, so both teams were playing for something in that game.
Pride is what you just said, which is nothing because the season's over.
What's the point of any football game? other than pride?
No, because you're playing to
No,
win
what do you
a
mean
national
no?
championship.
Which is pride.
1,000%, I suppose, but not
Yes.
exactly. No,
1,009%, I suppose, but not exactly.
not exactly.
You just said 1,000%,
No,
but
because
not
these
exactly.
games mean nothing. They really mean nothing.
But pride.
You gonna put a banner up for the Liberty Bowl?
Yes, absolutely. You put them in the lights around your stadium that flash. They do different advertisements. Every now and then you bring up your bowl history. Absolutely. Absolutely. We're going to be like, yeah, we won the Liberty Bowl in 2023. That's right. Memphis. Sure.
I mean, they used
it was
to
a
mean-
home game for Memphis.
Bowl games used to mean something, and now they don't.
Yeah, I don't think that's I don't think that's a revelation personally. Bowl games haven't meant something for about 3 years now,
Yeah.
give or take. But I think it's a more simple solution than you think. I don't think the solution is just screw bowl games. Let's do nothing but playoffs.
No, it's like I'm just trying to find a way to where guys, the team that you had is mostly intact for a bowl game. Like, all I can think of is move the transfer portal farther out, make it in like in the beginning of January.
Do it after the playoff semifinals, because
Yeah.
most teams you don't want teams to wait until.
Why does it matter how long they wait?
No,
It's
you don't want players to have to
spring
wait.
ball is like in February. It's not like it starts like that.
There's also an issue of you want to get players enrolled in school so that they can practice in spring ball.
Oh, that's where the issue lies.
Yeah, so there is a
there's
little bit of a logistical thing about this.
Can they just take like? But they could take like, what's the word? Accelerated classes that start in February. You could totally do that.
I don't know.
Those
I don't
are-
know. I feel
that's
like each school is different.
Yeah, but that's totally a possibility for some universities.
Yeah, I don't know. The NCAA might have to allow a provision where, you know, if they do delay the transfer portal, the start of the transfer portal, then you might have to
Well, it's like
okay, if you're not enrolled in the university by this time, you can still practice, but you have to be enrolled by the summer. Or
no
whatever.
sport other than college football has free agency in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
No sport, and it doesn't make sense. Put free agency in the off season, not in the middle of the season.
I get it. Well, actually, no, because the transfer portal does open for March Madness. Technically, it opens as soon as the regular season ends.
Right.
But the thing is, no one transfers before their team is eliminated.
Right. Because you have a shot.
Yeah. Even though realistically, there's
don't.
only like 8 teams that can win it, give or take, every year.
I also think, though, it is a little different with basketball because you do hang a banner for the Final Four.
Look, you can hang a banner. If there's one thing that we've learned about
FDU,
yeah,
round of 32.
You can hang a banner for anything.
Yeah, but
Trust me, you can hang a banner for anything.
Traditionally speaking, you hang a banner for Final Four.
Yeah. You also you
You know what I mean?
add to your banners of like, oh,
Round of 32.
round of 32 tournament appearances. You never say round of 64 finish. You just say tournament appearances. You know.
That's good.
But
yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting, but yeah. What are we gonna do? We're just 2 dudes in Kentucky
Tell me about it.
in a basement.
That too.
Yeah. Anyway, I wanna real quick talk about Quinn Ewers.
What's Quinn Ewers on your mind?
Well, you told me you fell asleep during the game, so I don't know if you saw this part or not. They almost put Arch Manning in the game
Really?
in the second half because Quinn Ewers very, very clearly got a concussion. In my unprofessional opinion, I don't have an MD by any stretch of the imagination. But so he threw a pass. He was getting hit as he threw the pass, and he just got slammed
Oh, you got
on the
that
ground.
whiplash with the back of the head.
Hit his back of the head on the turf.
Right.
Immediately came up, was like holding the back of his head. After the series was over, on the sideline, he just kept like pointing to the medical staff to the back of his head, and they just had him like run back and forth a couple times. They didn't even really like evaluate him for a concussion. They just had him run. They're like, he can run, put him back in.
How many fingers am I holding up? 2. Get back in that game.
How many fingers am I holding up? 3. Starts with a T. You're good. And the thing is, he didn't take any really big hits from that, but after that point. But I was watching. I was terrified. Because any medical professional will tell you, you can get a concussion and be fine.
It's the second concussion.
Yes,
having
the
a
second concussion is easier to get, and it's often far more severe.
Well, it's what happened to
Tua.
Yeah, that's exactly who I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yep. Tua got a concussion, came back in the game, got the second concussion, and the second one was
horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think he got a concussion later that year.
Yeah, and then people are like, he should retire.
Yeah, but yeah, I remember I was watching that last night, and I was like, oh my God, he's very clearly concussed. I'm terrified for this man. And Arch Manning was warming up on the sidelines. Like, he had his helmet on. He was ready to go. And they just didn't put him in. And it felt like a dereliction of duties for the medical staff for Texas.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he was good to go. And they were just like, you can run back and forth. You're good. And it's like, that's not what a concussion is, man. I know that. If I know that, that's an issue. Test him. Do the flashlight in his eyes or whatever, you know? You know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
They check to see if your eyes dilate.
See how big it, yeah.
Yeah, the pupils. That's just like a little thing that I wanted to mention. So
I'm not an expert, but do more tests. I know some more tests you should have done. Maybe they also did it and the cameras just didn't show it.
They talked about it. They said they just had him run back and forth. I don't buy it. I was happy that Washington won that game simply because I was like, I don't think Quinn Ewers is okay.
I'll put it this way. As far as like from the game and I was watching, Michael Penix Jr. is very good at throwing that rock around the field, let me tell you.
Yeah, no.
He can sling the pigskin, baby, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Oh, I hadn't really like watched him like that. I like watched the Oregon-Washington game. But then I watched that game, I was like, okay, this guy is legit. He is.
He was good at Indiana.
Oh my God, dude, this guy.
He looks like Lamar Jackson to where, like, I mean, he's left-handed, so it's
right.
Sometimes mentally it's hard to think, but like both Lamar and Michael Penix just like flick the wrist.
Right.
They flick it, and then it goes like 40 yards down the field, and it's like, Jesus.
This stuff, that ball was flying.
Yeah, it goes soaring, and you're like, it looks like he put zero effort into that.
No, it's like zero effort. The ball goes 45 yards, and it just lands right in the breadbasket for his receiver in stride. And you're like his one touchdown that he had right before the end of half where guy ran a post up the middle in a cover 2 zone. And he just threads it in between both safeties. And I mean, like, both safeties are, like, right here. And the ball just goes.
Yeah, right into the end zone?
Oh.
I mean, was that the pass into the end zone?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, it was so good.
Yeah, no, he's fantastic. And Kalen DeBoer is a really good coach. So,
well, he won Coach of the Year.
Yeah. He was also his offensive coordinator at Indiana.
Sounds about right.
For a little bit.
And apparently, they were saying during the broadcast that Penix got injured at Indiana.
Oh, he got injured like 4 times. He had like 2 ACLs.
Right, and so he's not as much of a mobile guy as he used to be.
Could you imagine? Decently mobile.
He is decently mobile, but he's not as mobile as he once was, apparently.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely, like, if you watch him play, he's 100% a pocket passer.
Right.
Like, he's a modern pocket passer, you know, like he can run, but he doesn't necessarily want to.
The ball is just flying.
Yeah.
Over that.
He's very good.
Caesar's Palace Superdome, I believe it's called.
Yeah. Yeah, the Superdome down there in Nolens. But, they mentioned that Mel Kiper
Why are we talking about Mel Kiper?
Because he has him listed 25th. The 25th best quarterback heading into the draft.
Not 25th best quarterback.
I think that's what they said.
25th best prospect. He's not the 25th best
Let's look it up.
quarterback.
Let's look it up.
He might be prospect. He's a first rounder, maybe
right.
early second.
I'll look it up. You talk about other.
But
Maybe
I mean,
misheard.
let me tell you.
Talk about the Georgia punter, man.
Oh, let me tell you, this Brett Torson or whatever his name is did not allow a single punt yard during 2023. Part of that, I believe, is just great execution and coaching, and part
I
of
think
it.
more of that is on the special teams. Than
Oh,
him.
he's got some good gunners. I mean, like, but technically it's his stat, but that's definitely a special team stat where it's like, okay, who is Georgia's special teams coach? How well are they performing? And like, that's very impressive to force all fair catches or not a single yard.
Yeah.
Like overall, that means like your punt unit was just perfect all year.
Yeah.
Which is pretty insane. Let's see. What else? Oh, so back to like speaking of Georgia, Florida State, right? So, Florida State players reacted to Alabama losing to Michigan. Here's what they had to say. They said difference between earned and given. And I wanted to say you just lost by 60.
Who said that?
Oh,
Alabama or
Florida
FSU?
State FSU players said on Twitter. I'll have to pull it up for you.
That's interesting.
Well, it's like
I would be very quiet after losing by 60.
no,
personally.
exactly.
I get it, but yeah, Mel Kiper does not have Penix in his top 25 players. So
I mean, who are the quarterbacks in front of him? Caleb Williams, Drake May.
he had
Jalen-
Shador Sanders above him. Jaden Daniels too.
He's smoking.
I mean, Shador is pretty freaking good, but
Is he?
yes, he's really good. You've watched Colorado, right?
No, but it's not about
He's
that.
really good.
Is he though?
Yes.
He's that good. He's better than Penix.
I'm not going that far, but he is very good. Shador Sanders is very good at playing quarterback. But, yeah, no, he does not have him in his top 25. I think he's got him the 25th best quarterback, which is ridiculous in my opinion. You just gotta watch him play. Looks like a monster out there. Yeah. So, while he's trying to find that, we'll just do another quick one. It looks like someone on Ole Miss's staff probably made a fake Penn State Twitter account.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah, made a fake Penn State fan account saying a bunch of trash talk about Ole Miss so that Lane Kiffin could retweet it.
Which, like,
This is a not important story at all. It's just very funny.
But like, it's why?
Look, man, any little bit of motivation. They won, right? They won. Those 7 points didn't come from nowhere. It came from @WeAre_Penn State. That's where those 7 points came from. You think it came from coaching and execution and fight?
But like,
No.
why?
It came from @WeAre_Penn State. Why? It's to motivate your team. You do literally anything you can to motivate your team.
This is crazy though.
You got to do what you got to do, you know. But yeah, that's you got to do what you got to do, my guy. Clearly, you're not a Peach Bowl winning head coach, so I would.
Jaron Jones, he said this is why Bama shouldn't have been in. DeMarcus Walker said, and Jaron Jones, who is a top-graded defensive back. What the world? I mean, I would keep my mouth shut if I just lost by 60, but that's just me.
I don't know. Look,
Can we at least admit this?
yes.
The committee got it right.
No, I'll never admit that in my entire
But
life.
I mean, like, genuinely speaking, if Florida State played Michigan we would have had the Orange Bowl game for the Rose Bowl, and it would have been miserable to watch. Can we at least acknowledge that?
They would have had 20-something players more than they had.
True. But, so they would have dropped down the score by 20 or so. So they only would have won by 40.
I don't know about that.
Okay. You got to admit, the committee...
Michigan made a lot of mistakes. Who's to say Florida State doesn't capitalize?
You really don't want to admit this.
Nah, I never will.
The committee got it right.
I never will.
You know you're wrong.
No, I disagree with you, frankly.
No.
Yeah, I do. I do.
You just wanted Louisville to go to the Orange Bowl. You had ulterior motives.
Yeah, absolutely. That's not why. That's not why. Trust me. Florida State fans are very annoying. They've shown their colors to a young buck like me, who I guess doesn't live in Florida, so doesn't really see it, but on a daily basis, that is.
Fair enough.
But I'll never admit it. Never ever.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway.
All right. What do you want to talk about?
That's a great question. We can talk about basketball. There were some interesting games in basketball. San Diego State beats Gonzaga, upsetting them.
So, fun fact, I forget the name of where Gonzaga plays.
The stadium or the city?
The venue.
Venue, okay.
I forget the name of the arena. But the away teams are like 13 and like 120 something. I don't know the exact quote.
They have a very good record at home.
At home, right?
McCarthy Athletic Center.
13 wins, right? San Diego State, for away teams, has 2 of those wins. They're 2-1 at the McCarthy Center. They are the only team with a winning record against Gonzaga away.
That's shocking.
It's very impressive.
They have been. I don't know how many people know this, because they kind of just had their like Final Four run. They had their national championship run, the runner-up run last season. So I don't know if they've probably just now gotten to the consciousness of a lot of like non-diehard college basketball fans. San Diego State is historically a good program.
Oh, they had Kawhi Leonard. They were a 2 seed way back in the day. They've been a very good basketball program for a while now.
The coach of the Fab Five, when he got fired at Michigan, he went to San Diego State and built them up into a good program. And then his top assistant took over when he retired, and he's still the coach today.
Oh.
So they have been a good, solid program for quite some time. And so it's not overly shocking that they have done well in Spokane.
Brian Dutcher.
Brian Dutcher?
Dutcher, yeah.
Brian. Yeah, that's right.
And here's his record.
He's a good coach.
They went 30-2 and were a 2 seed in 2020, but the tournament got canceled.
They would have been a 2. They never officially
put out. Oh, it's a 2 seed.
It's funny about the 2020 season. The NCAA was actually considering doing the selection show,
but not
actually holding a tournament, because they wanted to. I remember the big one at the time that I remember was Illinois. Yeah. Illinois at that time, it had been years since they last made the tournament. Which Illinois is actually a solid program.
Now they
Illinois
built
is a good program.
They built it into something now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when Illinois used to be a laughingstock, but yeah.
Underwood. Historically they're a pretty good program.
Right.
And they just went on such a bad stretch, and in the 2019-2020 season, it was like they were headed on a collision course with the tournament, and I was in Chicago at the time, so I knew some Illinois fans that were like, "Yes, we're finally back, baby!" And then I was talking to someone, and I was like, "Oh man, COVID's getting serious," and he's like, "Yeah," and I was like, "They just canceled the March Madness," and he was like, "No," because he's an Illinois fan, but they were considering releasing the bracket anyway, just so people could continue quote unquote their streak of like
records.
of this is how many tournaments we've been to.
I mean, if there's no
and
tournament,
they didn't do that.
well, it's
But
like right now, Illinois, in my opinion, second best team in the Big 12.
Big Ten.
Big 10. Yes, my apologies.
Big Ten's not great this year.
It's really a 3-horse race, it seems.
It's them, Purdue, and
I would say Wisconsin, and
Wisconsin's good.
And then
we'll see if Michigan State can get there.
I was about to say if Michigan State can figure it out. They possibly, but right now it's.
I mean, they're 7-5.
Yeah.
You know, like
it's weird though because
a few years ago, Purdue like limped into into conference play at like 6-5, and then they went on a run and ended up being like a
I mean
like a 6 seed. You know, they had you can salvage your year.
Oh, 1,000%.
At 7
I mean, like a JMU loss is bad, and the Nebraska loss was bad. Other than that,
James Madison is still undefeated.
True,
they're in the top 25. Like if you look
right.
at James Madison's schedule, they might go the entire year undefeated.
Are they going to do Murray State this year?
Murray State?
Yeah, Murray State when they went undefeated way back in the day, were 6th seed in the tournament.
When did that happen?
Sure, I'll show you.
I know Wichita State's the last mid-major to go undefeated into the tournament, I think.
Murray State went undefeated one year.
I mean, I believe it, but like, I know Wichita State in 2014 was undefeated, and they ended up being like a 2 seed, I think. But yeah, no, I think James Madison's going to go undefeated.
No, that's not right.
That loss looks better with time, but it did kick off Michigan State losing a lot.
Oh no, my bad. They weren't undefeated. They lost to Tennessee State that year.
So they had one loss.
Yeah, they finished the season 31-2. You said who? Who was the other undefeated team?
Wichita State in 2014.
Oh, is this the one with Ron Baker and Fred VanVleet?
Yep. Those 2013, 2014 Wichita State teams, they were loaded with talent. They were loaded. They had Cleanthony Early, Fred VanVleet, Ron Baker. I mean, they had more guys. I can't think of everyone that they had, but
2013, 2014 maybe.
Yep.
No, they lost to Kentucky.
Yeah, 2013, 2014. Yeah, that was their last loss.
Oh, third round. Oh, that's the postseason. Yeah.
So, it's interesting. Very interesting.
So, yeah, James Madison's got a shot to do something like that.
Absolutely. And they're probably, if they do, they're probably going to be a 6 seed or something like that.
Yes. I don't know. No, because if they're ranked right now, they'll be higher than that.
Trust me,
the committee won't.
The committee does not consider the AP poll one bit.
Interesting.
They do not consider the AP poll at all.
Huh. Well, I mean, like, they only have one.
There's precedent where there's a team ranked in the top 4 of the AP poll and doesn't end up getting 1 seed. Like,
oh, I see.
Yeah, they don't.
Well, what do you call it? They have. It's quad 1, quad 2s. They only have like one quad 2 game left on the schedule, and that's Appalachian State away.
App State's away. That's actually interesting. App State's not bad this year.
Well, they're according to Ken Palm, they're giving them a 50% chance of winning that game. Every other game is like the lowest one's a 65%, and that's away against Louisiana.
Yeah, I mean App State's 10-3 this year, I think, so far. So they are a solid team.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting.
I mean, they're projected to finish second in the Sun Belt.
Yeah, absolutely. I that'll probably happen.
All right.
But yeah. Other games, Arizona lost bad at Stanford. They lost by 18 points. Arizona's got a good defense. It's crazy Stanford hung 100 on them.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, Alabama, who Nate Oates, he's
got
known for his offenses.
A great offense.
Yeah, he always does everywhere he goes.
They put up 74 against Arizona, but
yeah, like that is a bad performance by Arizona. I think Arizona's better than that, but it's a terrible, terrible
I
loss.
think. I mean, I was kind of surprised by it because, in my personal opinion, I thought Arizona was like a tier above of everyone else, like in the Pac-12.
Their big win that propelled them that high was Duke.
Yeah.
Duke early in the year was kind of
I mean, they got Duke,
floundering.
they got Michigan State, Wisconsin. they
Again.
beat
Michigan
Alabama.
State's got 5 losses.
Yeah, they've got Alabama. They beat, but then
Alabama has
was
5
like
losses.
as well. Yeah, could have beat FAU. Who,
They could have. They could have beat Purdue as well.
yeah, which
I mean,
is
Arizona's good. I'm not denying that. It's just a tier above everyone else.
in the
I don't
Pac-12. Yeah,
In the
I mean,
Pac-12.
that's what I'm saying. In the Pac-12.
Okay, I thought you were saying in the country.
No. Like, I mean, like, who's behind? Like, in the Pac-12 this year, it's like who? Them?
I don't know.
Colorado, Utah?
Maybe, yeah.
Like, I don't really. I mean, I didn't rank any other Pac-12 teams.
I've got Colorado ranked.
Right. I think maybe I had them ranked, but I mean, like,
Colorado's good. They've got a lot of good players.
yeah.
I don't know who their coach is, so I don't know. Personally, I don't.
And speaking of FAU lost to Florida Gulf Coast,
yeah.
which is a terrible loss.
Yeah, that is not good.
It's very bad. Dusty Mays, I don't know how do you just use all your energy on Arizona that you're just like Florida Gulf Coast, we don't need much of a scout there. Like, honestly, it's like
yeah, I don't know what to make of FAU this year because they brought like everyone back.
It's so weird. They can beat A&M, Virginia Tech, Liberty. They beat Arizona, St. Bonaventura, but then they lose to teams like Bryant and Florida Gulf Coast. Like they also lost to like Illinois. Like in quad one wins, they're quad one games, they're 2-1. In quad two games, they're 2-0. In non-quad games, they're 5-2. Like, what are we like? What?
Yeah, I mean that's.
How do you win the quad one games? How do you have a winning record in the quad one games, but then you let Bryant and Florida Gulf Coast beat you?
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know what to make of them because they had a great run last year. They also, it's like, how much of that run is they played great, and how much of that run is there was just so much chaos in that half of the bracket that it allowed them to get to the Final Four. You know?
I mean,
'Cause
I
I think-
do think at a certain point, once you get into like the Elite Eight or the Final Four, you're hot, you're playing well because the other teams that
Yeah.
are beating the quote unquote good teams are playing well as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you're getting out the first weekend and you're making it to the Sweet 16 Elite Eight, you're playing good basketball.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
Like you might get lucky, be a 7 seed, beat up on a 10 seed, and then you get St. Peter's the second. You know what I mean? Like you might get that, but I mean like after that, it's good basketball after that.
Typically, yeah. And with the tournament, there's a lot of emotion, which is like such a huge aspect of
much
college
fun.
sport.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I don't know. I'm very confused about FAU. Honestly, aside from like
I mean, how do you beat Arizona?
Memphis,
No, it's them in Memphis basically.
yeah, because everyone left the American.
No,
that was
it's
good.
it's literally them in Memphis this year for who will win. The
Everyone that was
American.
good left the American, and now it's them in Memphis. So
You could argue SMU, but that's about it.
I would not.
I'm
this
not.
year, no, not.
No, like so the odds to bet, it's like FA to win like the American, it's like FAU's like minus 140, and then Memphis is like plus 115, which is basically both of them are like even odds, essentially.
Yeah, it's interesting. I do think both teams are good, and I think
Both are tournament teams.
absolutely. And Dusty May, I'm very interested because he had the phenomenal year last year, but that was his 5th year as FAU's coach. The 4 years prior, he was like a middling like 500 coach.
Yeah, he sure was.
Yeah.
He struck gold last year.
Mm-hmm.
Went 35-4, if you count all the playoff games.
Yeah.
Not playoff games, tournament games.
Yes. The fourth
sport.
loss was in the Final Four,
Right.
a game that they could have won.
Right. 19 and 15 in 2022, 13 and 10 in a COVID year, 17 and 15, and then 17 and 16.
I'm curious what you think. Do you think if FAU would have beat San Diego State in the Final Four last year, do you think that the national championship would have been more competitive?
Not necessarily, no.
Because I think FAU was far more athletic than San Diego State. And, you know,
I mean,
like when it came down to it, like UConn waxed everybody last year. The closest game that they played was Miami. And that was like a 10-point win.
yeah,
That's crazy.
it felt good.
Yeah, I know. You picked him. You picked him.
I was like, this team's gonna win.
I'll give you credit here. Last year, before we did this podcast, you picked UConn to win the national championship.
Yeah.
You were correct. This year, you have picked in football. You've picked
Tennessee.
Texas. You picked Texas to be really good, and guess what? They were really good.
Texas. I thought Texas would be good, but then also I thought Tennessee was gonna be really good this year.
That was a dud. But I'm giving you credit where it's due.
I mean, like, hey, thanks, man.
Yeah. Tennessee, I'm not shocked by. That's
No.
exactly what I expected from Tennessee this year.
I don't even remember my football picks.
I think you picked them to go like 12-1 or 11-1 in the regular season.
Yeah, I picked Texas to beat like Alabama and everything and stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah, but
it would have been cool to see that rematch.
yeah,
But, yeah.
if they play a consolation game,
Oh,
they
yeah,
could.
the third place.
Yeah.
like the World Cup or something.
yeah, how they used to do for March Madness.
Here, come get your bronze. Wait, what?
Yeah, they used to do that in March Madness.
Wait, when did this start and when did this stop? Like, how long ago was this?
Might have stopped in the 70s, maybe.
Really? They
Yeah.
played a third place game?
Yeah, they would do the Final Four. Obviously, the winners would play for the national championship. The losers would play for third place.
They had a console. That is insane.
Yeah,
What? Why do I not know about this?
because they quit doing it in like the 70s.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And
So-
it must have had outrageous viewership because everyone's tuning into that third place game,
Yeah.
Everyone's got to know
Everyone's got to know
who's going to
Yeah.
finish third.
who's gonna finish third in 1974.
I just like the thought of it, like the Olympics where they just bring them out. Where imagine being in the third place game and you play before the national championship, so you guys stick around to stand on the podium to receive your bronze medal. That'd be kind of funny.
Yeah.
Rather than saying Final Four, it says third place. You have a third place banner.
Yeah. I'm sure some teams do.
Really?
Yeah.
Now I want to know, and so I can go look for it.
Yeah. I mean, I know. I'm trying to. I don't know when they stopped doing it. But here we go. This is an opinion piece. First thing that comes up: why the Final Four consolation game should be reinstated. Don't know why. It's not a good idea. There's a reason that they don't have it anymore. It's because it's gonna be like. It's terrible. Anyway. Yeah. You got anything to add on that?
No, I was kind of.
Also, this is a fun fact that most people don't know. The tournament, the NCAA tournament, it has gotten bigger over the years. It wasn't always 64 or 68 teams.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, there's a lot of teams from like the 40s. I think it started off as like a 12-team tournament. So there's a lot of teams from the 40s, that would like make the tournament, and then you win like one game and you're in the Final Four. Like if you lose that year, like if you got a first round bye in the tournament and you lost, that's an Elite Eight finish.
Right.
That's a year you get to claim like, oh, we made the Elite Eight. And it's like, okay, we got bounced in the first round, which to their credit, it was more difficult to get into the tournament because there was fewer spots, but there was also fewer teams in basketball in general. So Just a little something
Oh,
for
fun,
all you
fun.
folks out there. There we go. Okay, so they started in 1946 doing the consolation game. And then that ran until 1981. They did it until 1981. The last consolation game winner was Virginia. They beat LSU. Look at that. Yeah, oh no, that's not the game. Never mind. I thought that the Phi Slamma Jamma. I mean, Phi Slamma Jamma was the first year that they didn't do it.
Huh.
Yeah. So that's what they used to do.
What did you just say?
Phi Slamma Jamma?
Enlighten me.
You don't know what Phi Slamma Jamma is?
Dude,
Oh, my man.
I'm born in 2000.
I was born in 98.
Right, and you know 2 years more information than me.
That did not happen.
Dude, like
years
you had 2 more years to learn this stuff.
All right. Phi Slamma Jamma was the name that they gave Houston's basketball team in the 80s.
Oh.
Because they had who do they have on that team?
Was it Ralph Sampson?
They might have had Ralph Sampson. Yeah, I think they had Ralph Sampson, Hakeem Olajuwon. That was the big one. Hakeem the Dream.
82.
In the 80s. Yeah, 82, 83, probably before that. Oh, 82, 83, 84. Yeah, they made 3 straight Final Fours. Yeah.
Clyde Drexler, Hakeem Olajuwon.
Yeah, Clyde Drexler. That's a big one.
Those are the names that stick out to me.
Yeah. So they were a very
Eric Dickens.
Eric Dickens. There you go. They were a very good team. And they were just super athletic, and so everyone called them Phi Slamma Jamma.
There you go. There's the picks.
Yeah.
So Michael Young, Hakeem Olajuwon, Clyde Drexler were the first round picks.
Larry Michaud.
Wow, they had
Reed
five.
Geddes,
They had 5
Alvin
rounds
Franklin.
in the NBA back then. That's
They had a ton of rounds. Yeah.
Jeez.
In hindsight, it's silly because it's like second round picks don't do anything typically.
Hey.
But yeah, no, Phi Slamma Jamma. There's a documentary about. There's a 30 for 30 about them.
Really?
Yeah.
I need to watch that. Love me a good 30 for 30,
Yeah.
especially about college sports.
Yeah. This is a show basically for talking. There's not a ton of news outside of the national championship, which we'll talk more about in a second when we do our picks.
All right, so I'll ask you this. We'll do this. This will be fun. Conference play is about to start for basketball.
It has started for some teams.
For
yes.
some teams, right?
Yeah.
I've done it already with betting.
Yeah.
I would love to hear what you think. Start off with Big Ten. Who is winning the Big Ten this year? Regular season, not the tournament.
Purdue.
Purdue.
Yeah, it's gonna be Purdue, I think.
Gotcha. Let's go to the Big 12. Who is winning that one? That's a fun one.
Big 12, I think. Oh, it's tough, man. I like Kansas. Oh, do I like Kansas? But there's also Houston. Big 12 is great this year.
BYU.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see if what they end up doing.
I got my answer.
You think it's BYU or Houston? I'm gonna go with Kansas. I just like if Harris. I can't remember his first name. But their point guard, if he's actually aggressive, trying to score the ball, they're incredible. The thing is, he defers a lot. You know, he likes to distribute the ball.
Who, Kansas?
Yeah.
Juwan Harris?
DeJuan Harris, yeah. DeJuan Harris. When he actually is aggressive and trying to score the ball, they are so good. But he's more of a facilitator. So
Seems like it.
I think come tournament time, DeJuan Harris needs to kick it up a notch. He needs to look to score the ball.
Gotcha. But you're going with Kansas.
I'm going with Kansas.
I'm going with Houston. I think the defense is too dominant.
Houston's great.
All right.
Houston, they always have a great defense under Kelvin Sampson, but now they have a good offense.
Another difficult one for you. SEC.
SEC?
I feel like there's you could
I like
argue
Tennessee.
Tennessee?
I mean, I think here's the thing. I think Kentucky is really good this year.
Mm-hmm.
But their style of play, they are susceptible to like big upsets. Kind of like how they had against UNC Wilmington, how they almost had against St. Joe's. They are very, very good. They can beat anyone, but also they can lose to anyone if you play the right style, if you combat their system enough. Because you just have to force them to play half court.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going with Tennessee.
I mean, Tennessee, okay. I'm with you there. I'm going to go Tennessee, too. I think Tennessee has a very good defense.
They had a historic defense last year.
They have a very good defense this year. Second in the metrics, only behind Houston.
Mm-hmm.
And it is in a conference where you have three teams inside the top 10 in efficiency in offense. Obviously, one being Alabama, number 5 being A&M, and number 7 being Kentucky. And shortly behind, 15 is Auburn.
Yeah.
So,
SEC is really good this year.
It's very good. It's projected the second best conference behind the Big 12.
Yeah.
On to the third conference, according to Ken Palm, the Big East. Marquette just had a big win over Creighton. So you got that to go off of right now. UConn did lose their first game against, I believe, Seton Hall.
Yeah. They did. They did lose their first game. Big East is pretty tough, I think.
I think it's a three
Three-horse race?
That's the word. Yeah, it's 3-horse race. Right now, with one horse being clearly in front in Marquette. Closely behind, I would say, is UConn. And then because of that loss, I think Creighton is third right now. But in my personal opinion, I do like UConn again this year to win the Big East.
I do too. I think Danny Hurley's like the right type of crazy that you need to be a great head coach.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I believe in Marquette enough. And then Creighton, no. I think Creighton was slightly overhyped to start the year, but I think they're still good.
You could also argue right now, Villanova 2-0 right now.
Yes, but Villanova also went over in the Big Five Challenge. They lost every single game that they played. I think Villanova is just too. I'm not sold enough on Kyle Neptune. I want to see more. I want to see if he can get better as a coach.
I mean,
because they have the talent.
I mean, think about it. Villanova also beat Creighton as well in overtime. Also beat North Carolina in overtime. Has beaten Texas Tech and Memphis.
I know. That's the thing. They have good wins.
But then all that being said, they've also lost to Penn, San Joseph, Drexler, and Kansas State.
Yeah. Those are 4 bad losses this year.
I mean, the Kansas State one is not as bad as the other two.
I mean,
but absolutely.
maybe we'll see. Like, I just don't think Kansas State has the talent this year.
All right, we're going to quick fire these.
Yeah.
Big Ten.
We already did Big Ten.
Yeah, Purdue. All right. Pac-12.
Pac-12? Oh, my God. I'm Pac-12.
Arizona's already lost.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Arizona still.
They lost Stanford. Okay.
Yeah, there's just no one else. Like you said it before.
Yeah, basically. You could argue Utah, Colorado. Maybe keep an eye out for. Yeah, those are
the 3, honestly.
Yeah.
It's Arizona and everyone else.
ACC, we're bringing it home.
Here we go. So my head is leaning more towards North Carolina, honestly, but also I don't know what to think of North Carolina. I think similar to Kentucky, I think they can beat just about anyone, but they can also lose to anyone.
So I'll admit this.
Give me Miami.
Miami?
Yeah, give me Miami. I like Miami still.
Wow.
I like Miami.
Really, and I thought it was like between like Clemson, North Carolina, and Duke.
Clemson's good. Duke absolutely has the talent. I'm still not sold on John Shire. I'm just not.
Yeah. I know. Give me North Carolina. I think Baycott's going to figure it out.
I mean, North Carolina.
Baycott, R.J. Davis, what's not to love there? Come on now.
Hubert Davis.
No, R.J. Davis.
I know. Their coach is Hubert Davis.
Oh, fair enough.
Hubert Davis, I think, is better than John Shire, but I'm not very sold on him either. And you've got another year of a sample size to
Why don't you just
judge it.
pick Virginia at this rate? Sounds like
No,
you love
Virginia
the
does
coast.
not have the offense.
Gotcha. All right, we're moving on to the Mountain West.
That's
Got
a tough one.
San Diego State, Colorado State, New Mexico, Nevada, maybe even Utah State.
You see, this is Mountain West is good this year.
I think there's 4 teams that will make the tournament this year.
I mean,
I'm between 2. I'm between Colorado State and San Diego State.
So am I.
San Diego State, with their win over Gonzaga, has raised my eyebrow and like maybe they can do it. Because initially I thought Colorado State through and through.
You know what? Let me see if this is correct. New Mexico's coach. That might be.
Here, I got it right here.
It might be Richard Pitino.
It is. It is.
Yep, Richard Pitino.
Sure is.
Yeah. So, I'm going with Colorado State.
Colorado State. All right. Moving on to the A10 2-horse race. We got
Dayton.
Dayton.
I like Dayton. I like St. Joe's point
Yeah.
guard a lot. They have a very good point guard, but I like Dayton as a team.
Are you referring to Eric Reynolds, Lynn Greer? Do you know which name?
You scroll down.
Oh.
Yeah.
No.
Lynn Greer.
Lynn Greer. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Okay, my bad. The Americans a 2-horse race. Memphis or FAU?
Oh my God, I'm gonna go with Memphis.
Ooh, fun. A little Penny Hardaway action. Huh?
He's gotten better as a coach.
Really?
Oh my God, he started off as a terrible coach.
He was a very bad coach.
I don't think people have really paid attention to Memphis. He has gotten better every single year as a coach, and also he's been a fantastic recruiter the entire time he's been there. So I think he's gotten better as a coach. They have amazing talent. I'm going with Memphis.
All right. I think that covers most of the mid-majors as well as the majors.
The ones that we care about.
Well, for the most part, yeah. I think that covers it. 9 decent conferences. Fun picks. All right.
Here's what I want to do.
Go for it.
So the Northeastern Conference of women's basketball is
Apparently atrocious.
yeah, maybe the worst conference in college sports history.
Okay.
It is so bad. They've yet to start conference play. Every single team in the conference has a losing record. I mean, like the best team right now record-wise is Sacred Heart. They're sitting at 6-8. That's their best team.
Yeah.
Is 2 games below 500. Who do you got? Who do you got in the Northeastern? Because the team, the best record is 6-8. The worst record is 0-13. Terrible conference.
Who won it last year?
I have no clue.
I was gonna pick Merrimack, but I see they're on a 4-game slide right
They
now.
are.
So
It's better than Stonehill, who is on a 13-game slide.
you know what? Sacred Heart, because they can protect home. They just played a lot of away games, and that's why. They can protect home. So we're going with Sacred Heart off of that one information that I have right there. Sacred Heart is the only team that has a winning record at home, or winning record, if you want to count even a winning record as well. But
Look, here's the thing about all these teams. They all have to do the thing where they take a check to play a game on the road.
oh,
So that's why their records are so bad, but also they're bad teams. These are bad teams.
give me Sacred Heart. They know how to protect home.
Give
They're
me,
3-1. What type of predictions are these?
dude.
I give you all the mid-majors and major conferences of the men's basketball, and you go, here's just random conference in the
Northeastern Conference.
women's basketball. Like, I'm supposed to know
It's
who
so
any
bad.
of these teams are. I only know FDU, and I only know Merrimack because they make the tournament sometimes.
In men's.
Yeah, literally.
I've heard of Sacred Heart before.
What?
I've heard of Sacred Heart before.
Yeah, I've heard of Sacred Heart. Literally, every other team there listed, no clue. St. Francis of Pennsylvania.
You never heard of St. Francis?
No, they're 1-12 in
Oh,
women's
man.
basketball. Why would I have ever heard of them?
You know, here's my pick to win.
Are you picking Stonehill because they're 0-13?
I sure am not. I sure am not. I'm picking 2-10 Central Connecticut State. That's my pick.
The fact that you knew that CCSU was Central Connecticut State.
Of
I'm
course I
impressed.
look, man, I'm a junkie. I'm a junkie for the sports. We're gonna be following that all for the rest of this season
Please, God, no.
because it's so bad. Every like 2 or 3 weeks we'll fill you guys in.
So here's what's going on in the Northeastern.
Yeah, the Northeastern Conference and women's.
Women's basketball.
That's the horse I'm picking. Central Connecticut State.
Oh, jeez.
And you got Sacred Heart. Look,
Yeah.
you went to private school. I guess you got to pick Sacred Heart.
Whatever.
That's a Louisville joke.
Don't you put that devil on me like that.
Whoa, the devil! I thought you went to Catholic school.
He doesn't mean crap. You know how many people go to Catholic schools and don't care about that crap? Quite a handful.
I suppose. All right, well,
I mean,
I think that covers it. I think we're
is
ready.
that how you want to end the podcast?
Yeah, we got to do our last pick'ems.
Oh, true. We do have the pick'ems.
Yep. All right. This is our final pick'em, everyone, for the football season. It's been a good one, but it's January now. So we're down to 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
2 games. The FCS and FBS championship games. So the FCS championship game was supposed to be played on Tuesday.
That is not anymore.
Yeah, it has been moved to Sunday.
Good old NFL Sunday. Yeah, like the last week of the football season, they're just gonna play it right in the middle of that.
Yeah, nobody's gonna watch that game.
What are you talking about? I am totally gonna watch the South Dakota State Jackrabbits beat the Montana Grizzlies.
Is that your pick?
Did I just say that? Yes, absolutely. Did I not say this before? If it's got state in the name, they're going all the way.
North Dakota State didn't win.
Yeah, like I said, the good thing there's South Dakota State there to continue the tradition.
Look, okay,
The Jackrabbits have been thumping all year. What makes us say that they're going to stop?
so
Like what I did.
to fill you in, the standings so far, I have picked 138 games correctly.
Ooh.
He's picked 135. There is no way that I can lose. And the fans, you all, who are terrible, you've picked 127 games correctly. And I honestly, the reason I think that is because I think it just like certain games just hit with certain fan bases, and then they just flood it with votes. That's what I think happens.
Hey, it's fair enough, yeah.
Yeah, which good for you guys, good for you guys. But
So I'm still, according to some, I'm just going to take one out of the playbook here. This is my bowl game. I'm playing for pride here, okay? I'm playing for South Dakota State.
and I'm here for a good time, not a long time. So I'm picking Montana. Give me the Grizz, baby. Look, I love Montana is my favorite FCS school. The reason they're my favorite FCS school is simply because of the colors. I love their colors so much. The maroon and silver, real nice. Real nice. So, yeah, give me Montana. This one's going to be fun.
There we go.
And then, of course, the one that everyone's waiting for, game of the week. It's one of 2 games, and it's the most important game. We've got the FBS National Championship in Houston, Texas, down the road from Frisco. I actually have no clue where Frisco, Texas is. I'm not going to lie.
It's in Frisco. That's where it is.
There you go. That's where that's where Montana, South Dakota State's being played. Frisco.
There you go.
Never heard of it before. But we've got Washington and Michigan playing in Houston for the national championship for FBS football. That's kind of redundant, FBS football.
Right.
Oh, well. So they're both undefeated. We're going to have a 15-0 national champion.
Yep. Got my pick.
I'm going to take Washington just for the fun of it.
Just for the fun of it?
I mean, I know here's what scares me about Washington. They might not have their starting running back. They have been a very, very inconsistent running team, but when they have been able to run the ball, they'll put like 200 on someone. They'll either like have like 60 rushing yards or 200. Like there's no in between for them. And they've had more like 60 than 200 games. But the thing is, their pass attack more than makes up for it. And their defense is, give them credit. They're not as bad as everyone says. Defending the pass, they're atrocious. But the thing is, Michigan doesn't like to pass. They like to run. And Washington is a much more respectable run defense than anyone gives them credit for. Give me Washington this one, the Huskies. First national championship since Joel McHale played there in 1991.
How about that?
Yep.
Man, Washington has been counted out every single time. They weren't supposed to be Oregon. They weren't supposed to be Oregon again. They weren't supposed to win the Pac-12. They were a team that basically has just been the underdog, if you will, the entire season. Every game that was a big monumental game, I don't think they were favored in it. And so, with all that being said, give me the Wolverines.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I knew this classic bait and switch here.
Good old bait and switch.
All right. Well,
No, J.J. McCarthy and his cuteness is just going to lift up that trophy.
Cuteness?
Yeah, he's cute. Look at the hair. What's not to love? It's like the Sam Hartman effect. Forget Sam Hartman.
No. Sam Hartman is gorgeous. He's not cute.
No. McCarthy and
Sam
Blake
Hartman
Corum
looks like a Disney prince.
And so does Jim Harbaugh while we're at it, okay?
No, shut up. No, he doesn't.
What are you talking about? Are you telling me Harbaugh doesn't look like a Disney prince?
That's exactly what I'm telling
Come
you.
on,
He does
if a Disney prince were to wear khakis, it would look like Harbaugh.
khakis and wireframe glasses. Yeah, no.
What do you mean, yeah, no?
Look,
Harbaugh is going to win this ship and ride off into the sunset
and then go coach the Bears or something.
That or the Panthers, but the Panthers are pretty shit. Anyway.
I think he's leaving for the Bears.
No, but Michigan's been my number one team all year. I've said for a while that they're the best team top to bottom. And
You have been saying that. You've been on the Michigan train for a while.
yeah, so toot-toot to the ship.
Yeah. Well, those are our picks.
Yep. Thanks for watching,
That's
guys.
our episode.
Absolutely.
And that's college football season, basically. We're going to talk about it next week when the game is up.
And then
it's pure basketball, baby. Our time of year. All right. We'll see you next week.